and your interpretation will lead to some other nonsense that I don't want to start engaging all over again. You came here saying, oh, you block you didn't block you left panel, you didn't leave panel. All those things have nothing to do with me. If I block anyone, I block you because I don't want you to say things that I will have to take up. And I do that for your own protection. And I don't also want to deal with drama. I'm not out here to fight anybody. We are not mates. And even at that, if you claim that you are fighting or you are protesting for anything, and I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing, we'll meet at a point. There's no quarrel, there's no fight. You don't need to engage me. We are here. There's a reason why this place was put up. We want a better society for ourselves, not digging up things that we feel something about and then raising it up as if it's another problem. What I told you at the panel, what I said to you or to everybody, to you and Temi, who is far more mature than all, was simple. That, look, I should be angry under normal circumstances. You know quite well how much I care about and I listen to you people. You know how much this is all about you. An advocacy I've been running from 2016, 17 till date. We have not had cause to have anybody being shot at because of this. And I was trying as much as possible to protect and prevent this from happening. And eventually, I was rebuffed. I was being quarreled with. I was being abused. I was being everything. And then what I was trying to prevent happened. Do you think I would be happy having blood on that hashtag? That was all I told you. And we resolved that matter, and everybody went their way. And we continued. So why are you bringing it up all over again? After you have written a lot of things afterward. We have exchanged pleasantries after that. You have written stuff to me after that. I have acknowledged you after that. So what else are you bringing? What are you trying to do with that? You want to relive the whole thing all over again? I don't understand.
Can I go ahead now, host? Because I don't,
Yes, yes, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I've been referred to as being disrespectful, and I don't want to have that image of me out there, Sega said something when he started this, tirade. He said that he has other things to do. I'm sorry if you're the only one that has a job here in a space of over 30,000 people. Everybody's here for one reason or the other. And I think that you're trying to redirect or misquote, or I don't know how to say it. You're trying to rewrite history because this is clearly not the order of things. It happened. And then you're saying, you're bringing other things and you're calling a conversation that is clearly important to audience of people unimportant. Sega, I don't you see, everything that happened right from the protests to the panel up to this moment, I don't think that many people that have subscribed to this space count those things as being trivial or being unimportant. And then you cannot come here and try to manipulate people into thinking that you are the innocent one here. You said that you wouldn't be happy if somebody spilled blood all over the hashtag. Please, who should you be angry with here? The protesters who were busy peacefully protesting on the streets, or the government that ordered military operatives, even including policemen, to go ahead and go and shoot at protesters? Not just at the Lekki toll gate, all over Lagos. Not just all over Lagos, but almost all over Nigeria. And then suddenly we are the evil ones here, and the government is the innocent one, and you are supposed to be the innocent one as well. Excuse me, Sega Link, you cannot interrupt me because I kept quiet when you were speaking.
Stop this, please. I'm angry at everybody. Government, yourself, police, everybody together. This is a country, not your school, not your hostel. It is a country. We are here to have matured conversation, not massage anybody's ego here.
You are the one massaging your own ego, Sega Link. You are massaging your own ego. Because
Can I just jump in here? So, Sega,
please just hold on for David.
Sorry, wait, hang on, wait, please. So, I just want to point out that earlier on in the conversation, when two of us were going at each other, something you are doing with Reno now, you were doing it with me then, and it doesn't help, right? When someone is expressing an actual grievance, bear in mind that nobody here is a child. Everybody here is a legal adult. So there's no need to keep on inferring that, oh, you're much older, or you're in school, you're in a hostel. Like, there's no need to try and pull rank. It doesn't work. There's no rank here. It's only pieces of the other person. So I think we should just sort of express what we have to express and stop trying to pull rank, because it's not going to work. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Anseka said he blocked me for my own protection. I think that is a very funny statement to make. I don't even care why he blocked me. But then I was amazed because then this is somebody that we thought were pushing the movement together. So I didn't have any issues with you. Never did insult you online. I never did, like you just said, we had conversations together. I don't have any issues with anybody apart from the government. So why are you blocking me for my own protection? I don't need to answer that question because you also brought it up. However, I think that many questions that have been, excuse me, Sega, can you let me talk? Or let me say, Daddy Sega, because then you said I'm being disrespectful and I'm still a student. So let me say, Daddy Sega, can you let me talk? So all the questions that have been asked in this space, there's none that you've managed to answer. Apart from answers, we've seen recently how you referred to followers of the presidential candidate Peter Obi as insurrectionist, extremist, a lot of things, simply because things are not going your way. Sega, this is a young person talking to an older person. I mean, in the context of the Nigerian culture, things will not always go your way. And if things don't go your way, you cannot then now rise up one day and begin to call other people terrorists, other people insurrectionists, other people extremists, knowing that you are a popular voice in the society. And there will be some people listening to you, especially your government friends, listening to you and saying, yes, this is what he's saying is true. Listening to you and saying, well, see, if Sega has said this, then he must be right. Because then some people clearly believe in what you do and what you say. Please, Sega, like I said earlier, things would not always go your way. If you refuse to answer every of the question that has brought us here to this point, because there was a movement that you invested in, and the Nigerian movement, youth movement also invested in, or how do I say, the constituency invested in. They invested their life, they invested their money, they invested their hopes, they invested their passion into that movement. And the fight may have gone off the streets. The fight may have even gone off TV screens. Maybe our journalists are not talking about NSAS anymore. It doesn't mean that fire, that passion, that hope that we have died. It doesn't mean that our questions that have been unanswered, questions that have been raised by young people to you, to the government, that have been unanswered, have been forgotten. No, we haven't forgotten anything. And that is why everywhere we meet you, in and out of spaces, physically on the streets, in government houses, we will keep asking you, what happened? Why were young people shot and killed? Why were our hopes and aspirations dashed? And you think that if you think that you can wiggle out of those questions by referring to people as being insolent, being disrespectful, they're shouting at you on a space, you have other things to do, I'm sorry, you are very, very wrong. And that's delusion. And I think that you should snap yourself out of it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reno. Mr. Saga, you have the mic to respond to all that has been said.
I really don't even have, what I'm hearing is different from what you're saying. But with respect to everybody here, I will simply say you are expecting to hear certain things, and I don't know what that is. Because that's what you say when you don't hear what you want to hear, that the questions have not been answered. I am not the government. I don't speak for the government. The government have set up a panel that looked into the complaints of everybody in as far as the investigation of the Lekki incident is concerned. You dropped out of that particular arrangement, citing different personal issues and other things. And the result of the panel, the report of the panel, which you know that I'm very aware of, very involved in, has been released to the public. And you can probably read it and understand how the entire cookie crumbled, and what was before the findings were. Unless you're saying that the report does not represent the answers to your question, then probably you need to pose that question again. Maybe they will set up another panel to answer those questions. But if the report, as claimed by everybody, to have been representational of the aspirations of the youth and the people, then every single thing that you have asked here has already been answered. We're not here to retry the case. You may have, this may be an opportunity for you to talk to me or to engage me. And I don't think I blocked you from calling me if you have ever had any room or chance to speak to me. So there's really nothing about who you think I am, how you place me, or what have you, or what you think I'm feeling. It's not about me. Remove me from that. I'm not the CNC.
But you've made this about you. This
I
whole
didn't.
conversation, you've made it about you.
No, you are making it about me. You
You
are
have
making
made
it
it about
me.
yourself.
That's what you're
And it's
saying.
time you
That's your
wake up
thought.
and smell the coffee.
Whitebeard,
You see that.
please don't mute anybody. Let them go. Don't mute anybody.
So are
Kabir,
you done? Do you still have any
Kabir,
questions?
I'm not
Kabir,
meeting anybody.
Kabir.
Yes, President, I'm here.
I'm also getting a lot of DMs, and the youth want Segalem to say sorry for his
To who?
comment for calling the insurrectionist. They just want a sorry, and I don't know if Sega can do that. I don't know if he can
Before
do that.
Sega goes president, I was one of the young people who engaged in the NSAS protest in 2020. And some people would see me and say, oh, that NSAS girl. So maybe I should speak on behalf of myself. And if other people agree with me, then that will be fine. We don't need any apology from anybody. I personally, let me say how I don't need any apology from anybody. I don't think that anybody should be apologizing for their actions or what they've done. What we need is justice. Justice for those people that have died, justice for those people that have been maimed and left handicapped on the streets, justice for every one of us here who still feel some pain and a lot of anger as a result of what happened to the NSAS movement. The people who committed crimes and atrocities against young Nigerians, they're not ghosts. They're not fictitious characters. We're directing questions at you, Segalink. We're directing questions at the government as well. So I don't think that there should be any apology made, rather than those people be fished out and be made to face the law. That's mine on my hand. Thank you.
Segalink, please.
Thank you
I
very
have a
much.
question.
This is wait before
Segalink,
them, please. Can
Segalink,
I
I
say
have a
something?
question, sir.
Please
Segalink,
let me say something before your question, sir.
President, just a moment. Let him say something.
Rinu's submission is apt, and I appreciate the way she directed her question. And that's the answer to her question is already in the report. I will want you, Rinu, to go through that report and you say to me that that report did not represent what you
I
just
have
asked.
read the report, Segalink. I have read
Yes,
the
sir.
report. The
Yes.
government has also called you people that stayed on the panel liars, which we all see, which we have all seen. They have rejected many of your recommendations. They have brought out a ramshackle white paper, which has not even, none of the issues there have been implemented. So why are you asking me to go back to the report? Sega, face forward, answer the questions that are remaining, and let's move. There's nothing about asking me to go and read the report. You've asked me to go and read the report several times. I've made comments on the report. I've made comments on the report on interviews on TV Lives. Why are you asking me to go back to read the report?
Okay.
It's not about you. You claim to represent. Let me finish. I will come back to you, sir. Rinu, you don't have to be rude or raise your voice to make a point. I am talking to you. I'm not fighting you. And from what you have said, it's all about understanding. A report has been generated by a tribunal. The process is such that when you make a report like that from a tribunal, a white paper committee will be set up. They will look into the report and they will implement the report. The white paper committee have done that. They've told you the number of recommendations that they have absorbed, the number of recommendations that they have reviewed and absorbed, and the ones that they have recommended to government, the federal government, to implement and to look into, and then the only one they disagree on, which is clear enough. And conversation is still ongoing on that. The ones that they've accepted, the ones that they've modified, the one that they are acting on, based on what we have done, is already being implemented. It will still be implemented. And they are on, and people
After
are
2 years.
on their heart. Well, I don't know. I'm not in government. You know, I don't work for the state government. I don't work for the federal government. I'm just explaining to you because you don't know this side of the story.
We don't know if you don't work for the federal government. We don't know. So please
well,
go ahead.
It doesn't matter whatever it is, anybody knows. Okay? So the issue is still waiting for the state government to act on their promises and to act based on what they have responded to on that particular report, which is very simple. There's no need to be rude against each other or anything. There's no point. It doesn't make any sense. This is about the citizens of this country. This is about an advocacy and a protest that went on. This is about something that happened to fellow citizens, an incident that has been investigated by an independent panel, an independent tribunal that was set up, and something that the report has been done. There are processes to these things. So the issue is, do we, at this point, begin to mount pressure on the state government to do their bit, while we continue to mount pressure on the federal government to do the aspect that have been referred to them? So this is where the whole thing is. It's all about monitoring and evaluation, Reno. It is not about fighting ourselves.
I have
And
one question and a statement. The statement is that you've consistently made this conversation about rudeness and being disrespectful. There are over 30,000 people on this space. If I have come across as being rude and disrespectful, or being angry at Sega, I apologize. That's not where my anger is directed or my heart is directed. I really do not care about what Sega does with his platform. We all have different views. It believes that his advocacy is going to be the way to heaven. And clearly, with all the advocacy, police brutality is still on the increase. Extrajudicial killings are still on the increase. There are many young people on this space, at least out of 30,000, 5 will come out and say, police have extorted me this week or last month. We have not gone anywhere. This thing you seem to believe in. There are efforts, being made by you. But then I'm insisting we have not gone anywhere. The question that I also wanted to ask, that you've been saying a lot about how the government have been implementing this, the government have been implemented that. Please, what items exactly have the government implemented? Why wouldn't they implement the report, the white paper that they brought out? I think the recommendations, there are many civil society actors on this space. The executive director of EIE Nigeria is here. There are so many executive directors of so many NGOs that have been consistent on the issues of NSAS protesters, even after the shootings happen. And all we've been trying to do is keep the pressure on, just like you said, monitor and evaluating. So you're not the only one doing these things. Other people have been putting in the work, the struggle, and the efforts to make this to make this work, like just like you said. And the question I wanted to ask is, why I already asked why, which exactly items have the government implemented or not, and all of that. There were so many protesters that were killed at the Lekki toll gate. There's Lekon Abidin there, Victor Ibanga there, Abuta Solomon, blah blah blah. We can go on and on about these names. Why were they sold out on by you, Segalink? Why did you sell out on these people?
I don't understand your question.
Okay,
Why?
Miss,
What?
hold on. Apologies, Saga. Reno, I apologize, please. When I muted you the first time was because I had managed to somehow struck out a ceasefire between David with the help of Comrade and this thing. David decided to cease his fire, Saga did, and I was trying to maintain that temperature. And in an attempt to do that, people called me out and said I gagged a lady for speaking to Saga. I know Saga personally. I do not know David, but I kept apologizing to David and according him equal amount of time to address Saga. And Saga knows me for certain that when I moderate spaces, I will come at you. Regardless of who you are, my opinion doesn't matter. I will just come at you with questions. Now, in your own part, people are saying, why are you not letting Reno speak? Then another people are saying Reno is talking about what we're not talking about on this space, what this space is not about. And then some people are saying Reno should ask a question. Then some people are saying just mute Reno, while other people are saying let her speak. Now, I have asked the co-host to not interrupt, let you go on Saga. You guys can settle this thing alone. But
I have
please
gotten
put a
so many
question to him.
messages.
Yes, just
So many
put a
messages.
question to him before this 30,000 people lynch me. So put a question to him. If he answers this question, I would give you back the mic. You can fire again. But if you do not have any other question, I'll bring in other people. Kemi is here saying she has to go on David, and David is saying he doesn't want to go on and Kemi. Some people are saying, why did I allow David go on Kemi?
Absolutely.
And Kemi doesn't want to respond. So please, Reno, put a question to Saga and he would respond. Please don't make it rhetorical or sarcastic or condescending. Put a genuine question or logical base and he should answer. If he fails to answer, call him out for it. You have the mic.
Thank you, Ost. I think that so that it will not be seen as, somebody's overdoing, right? David has had asked a lot of questions. I was a listener when he was asking questions. I have also posed about 3 to 4 questions to Sega Link. I think that other people have as well. I think that lawyer Abdi Mahmoud is here as well. I mentioned him from the start. I also like him to come up on the space if he's still here, because he was part of the people I spoke to along Sega when the protest started. Just like David said, many of us have lost a lot to the NSAS movement. Personally, I've lost 3 years of my tertiary education to the movement, and I can go on and on. Everybody knows how the government has still kept on the intimidation and spreading propaganda and all of that. I personally would not want to repeat questions, right? Because Sega is a man of intellect. If he's not, he wouldn't have gotten to where he is today. And he clearly understands where we're coming from. He clearly understands the questions that have been asked. He clearly understands where the anger is coming from. What he has refused to do is to acknowledge them, answer those questions, and he has gone on his mode of trying to manipulate the conversation, referring to people as being crazy or being rude or being mad, and trying to make it look as if everybody's mad, but he's the sane one. Yes, so I wouldn't want to be barrel. I can't repeat myself. Sega understands my points. He understands David points. He understands most people's points here, even if he claims he doesn't. I would stop here. Thank you, host, for giving me the mic.
Uh,
Kabir,
Hello.
I want to ask Sega.
Hello.
So
Hello.
what
Hello,
is
President. President, please, and
yeah?
can I just interject before you proceed? I want to make a special appeal to my brother and friend, Sega. You see, leadership comes with responsibility, and you know this very well, my brother, because we've discussed this over the years. I openly disagreed with Sega during the NSAS because, again, I know that many of his tweets, just like the way people take some of my tweets out of context, because if you take just one tweet out of 20 or 30 tweets that somebody is tweeting, because there's a limitation to tweeting, to the character that can be said within a tweet. So if somebody takes just one tweet and runs with it, there's that perception. But since it is your tweet, these are your words, whether misconstrued or not. See, you are always a bigger person when even you've not been wrong. I've been in relationships where I've never been wrong. I've not done anything wrong. I'm the one apologizing. Because leadership is like that. I've been in friendship where I didn't do anything wrong, but I was the one trying to make peace and apologize. So the bigger person takes the fall even when they have not done anything. So I'm not saying you should take the fall for anything whatsoever, because I know that the intentions are right. Because when I come on social media, even especially Facebook, it is more detailed. It gives room for more opportunity for people to freely express themselves and more holistically. However, Twitter is a barrier in that regard. So I understand what the issues are. What we are trying to do is to show the people who are listening, and especially the members of the older generation who they already have a perception about us, because it is the way we have also behaved ourselves over the years. That we are not different from the people we are criticizing. And criticism exists. And that's why I'm always angry when I see any movement that hates criticism. I love criticism. I tolerate it. So when people criticize us, no matter even if they hate us, there's something to learn from that criticism. So my appeal to Zenga, my friend and my brother, just like the way I've appealed, look at David. David has considered in this conversation, and he will have my respect forever, because I know what David is going through, because this is what I've spent the rest of my life going through. I have spent over 2.5 decades being on the run, being persecuted, being lied against. So I know what these issues are. So for me, I believe that it is that bigger person that should shift ground, that should concede. We are not saying you did anything wrong. See, even if people misunderstand you sometimes, you apologize. So, and this is not a blame game thing. I'm not interested in blaming anyone for anything. After all, none of us here shot anybody at the toll gate. We know the people who shot people, Buhari met the service chiefs before people were shot and killed in Lekki told me. I raised the alarm. This man is meeting them. He's going to go and give order to go and kill innocent people. When they recruited the thugs to start attacking protesters, we all saw what happened. You understand? So instead of dragging these things and the animosity continues and all that, no. I'm just trying to be the voice of reason in the room because I know what the issues are and we all know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deji. Quickly, Saga, David, if you allow me, I would like to. President has spoken. There's Dr. Great Oracle, Abdul Mahmoud. Abdul Mahmoud, you've sent a couple of messages requesting I bring you up. So, what are your thoughts on the discussion?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kabir, for having me on. I've been knocking on your door for 30 minutes. Greetings to our compatriots out there, 35,000 plus, who are listening to the conversation on this space. I'm a much older person. I have 34 years of consistent commitment to the struggle of our people, dating back to 1988. I'm enthused when I see youngsters who are interested in uplifting that collective value that we share as patriots and compatriots as citizens. I'm deeply worried by the schism that exists between conscious citizens in the public space. Schism that is not shaped or defined by any ideological rampant. I'm not here to pour petrol in the fire that is presently burning. Perhaps if we can have some calm, like Deji has appealed to all of us, brandishing the sword, the machetes, and consider thousands, if not millions of youngsters in our country who have come to see us as heroes, who have come to see us as heroines, and begin to shape the conversation on the basis of what we think is right. I know Sega, it got me involved in the NSAS stuff in 2016. For some of you who do not know, I think Deji will attest to this. I was dying in a London hospital in 2016. Doctors had given up on me, And a few days later, I resurrected from my coma when Sega got in touch with me and said, look, Oga, this is what I want you to do for me. I told him my health condition, and I told him, look, I can only do what I can do to the extent that my health allows me. And glory be to God, as Nigerians say, I made my contribution. See, in every struggle, we have heroes like Mandela, we have Mangosuthu Buthelezi, people who define struggle according to the prisms that they create for that struggle. I think who spoke, President appealed for calm, and I want to take sides with her or him. I don't know the identity or the gender of that individual. David, I do not, David, I do not. I like him a lot. I've tweeted and retweeted some of his tweets. I appreciate what he does in the public space. I do not always agree with him, but I retweet for the purpose of expanding the terrain of conversation. We need peace among our youngsters in our country. This schism will not help anybody. As we are speaking, we are the living. People died on 2020. I know some of us no longer have memories of those we lost. Some of us do. For the sake of the beautiful memories we have of those unknown Nigerians, please let's bury the hatchets. Mistakes were made. Mistakes that were founded on our personal understanding of what is constitutive of a struggle, I've spoken to virtually every individual involved, bar David. I don't have David contact. I've never shared DM with him. I've spoken with Sega to the point that he blocked me. That is fine, and he unblocked me. But look,
apologies, doctor. Doctor, you have a minute before we bring other speakers.
Please let him talk. Let him talk.
Please. When people degenerate, collapse from that height of heroism, that they become, Buthelezi of our struggle. We help those people. And those people must also recognize that they made a mistake. Look, I miss no word describing a conscious struggle as insurrection was handing arm over to the Nigerian state. Sega owes Nigerian youth that apology. He owes Nigerian youth that apology. And we can only go on with this conversation when people admit their errors. And it does not define them. It does not take gloss from them. It only exemplifies the fact that they are humans. We are not perfect. We strive toward perfection. And in striving towards perfection, we must accept mistakes that we have made. Perhaps this is an advice also to David. David, you have thousands of people who follow you. The struggle is not about bows. It's not about responding to people who do not like some of the tweets you put out. You fight a lot in the public space. And it is not good for you as an image. It is not good for your image. It is not good for some of us who hero worship you. Perhaps it's a personal weakness that you must work on. That's the point I want to make. Please, let us bury the hatchet. The Nigerian political elites, they are united to the extent that they reserve seats on the table for members of the elite class. It is only the hoi polloi of our country that drags out machetes and sword to plunge at themselves, and blood bleeds at different points of our body. Look, let us walk away from this historical problem that we find ourselves. It's been part of our culture. This generation must set stellar examples and tell generation before that we are not like you. Thank you, Kabir, for having me on, and God bless you all.
Doctor, before you go, please, Doctor. Doctor, please come back before you go. Doctor, what would you say to Reno and Sega? Because I believe that Reno and Sega have been going at it, and you have been central to this issue precisely, from NSAS to the panel. What would you say to Reno and Sega? Please, I would need you to speak to them directly on their unresolved issues. It has been going on for years, and we cannot reach somewhere.
Yes, thank you for having me again. I'm not sure if I've met Reno. That I think I have, but we converse a lot. Sega and I used to converse a lot until post 2020, when I had a fundamental disagreement with him that was ideological, and that was also conscious. For both of them, please, Sega, I hear you are now living in England. Pick the phone, call Reno. It's your younger sister. Apologize to her. Some of the statements you put out in the course of the sitting of the Lagos Tribunal were incendiary. I don't have to mince word about it. He inflamed a lot of people. You were the hero of the struggle. You were the magnet. But I don't know what got into your head. Private conversation became breaking off point between us, to the point that you label people as insurrectionists. People are angry, and it was a word you ought not to have used. Perhaps you borrowed it from the American lexicon, But we're dealing with an American state that is responsible, not an irresponsible Nigerian state that cashed on that wall and mauled Nigerian youth in the streets of our country. We still have work to do. We still have work to do. I appeared before the panels in southeastern states. None of the state has released its NSAS report. I'm the lone voice asking the governor of Anambra State, please release the result of the ground zero of NSAS, which is Okuzu in Anambra State. We've all drifted because of this schism and division. Please take the phone, call this young girl, apologize to her, apologize to Nigerian youths. Please. It does not diminish you, it makes you a greater person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. That was a high-spirited submission. Thank you very much for coming up. A lot has been said to Sega, but Sega, before I come to you, Reno's hands are up. Reno, you have a minute to contribute to what Doctor has said before I go to Sega, and then back to David.
Thank you, Osh. Thank you, Dr. Mahmood, for that. However, I'd like to politely disagree. I don't need any apology from Sega. Sega has done what he can do. I mean, but I have no malice against Sega. I don't think that when I search my heart properly, I don't have any malice against Sega. Sega should take accountability for his actions. He should be responsible for his own words. You cannot put words out here. You have close to 1 million followers and expect them not to have an effect. So when he begins to take accountability for his actions, I mean, that's where we can say, then let peace reign. But then, like I said from the start, you cannot start to say let peace reign when you haven't taken accountability, when there is no justice, gotten anywhere. Throughout this space, people have said, Sega has called me rude, called me condescending, told me to go back to the classroom in some words that he did not say. He even said, go back to the kitchen, you're a woman, and stop talking here. But then I'm not going to be angry, because then this is not a conversation about me. This is a conversation about young Nigerians and the movement they invested their hopes and passions into.
Hey, Reno, I'm sorry to butt in. You represent a section of the movement. Call it feminist, call it female. There is no greater number of Nigerian youths there, male and female, who look up to you. We cannot pretend that something out of the ethereal, does not exist between you and Sega. You are angry. It comes across in the way you express yourself. Please, we have 36,000 people here, and a lot of voices are also amplifying the conversations here. Please, if you do not seek an apology here, create some space, private space, where you and Sega can have a conversation. I knew what transpired at the tribunal because I was part of it. I had friends. My good friend, who was my junior in the struggle in the student movement, senior advocate of Nigeria, Big Sam, was also was also at the tribunal. Sega, remember, before the panels were empaneled across our country, we had a private conversation. I told contacts in the Edo State that I don't want to serve in the panel because I will not be useful sitting on the panel. I want to move across Southeast, that I thought was ground zero, and defend people. Look, I saw the level of legal representation in the Southeast. I was angry. I buried my anger. Please, let us bury our anger. We need some level of calm for us to move forward. This schism is not helping any person. As a matter of fact, it has put the struggle 10 years backward. Please.
Can I go ahead, host? Please, I'm sorry.
Reno, apologies. Reno, please, apologies. Hold on. Saga, let me go to Saga because the
Reno,
first chance I gave you to speak, you disagreed.
Can I respond to Dr. Mahmood, please?
Free to respond. The mic is yours.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mahmood, I am hungry.
Whitebeard, can you hear me?
I think OS is having a problem with the network connection. Yeah, thank you. Dr. Mahmood, I am hungry. If people on this space say I am hungry, then I am hungry. I have a right to be hungry. And I don't think that anybody should tell me not to be angry. Like I said, not only David has talked about what he has lost to the protest over over 1 million of young Nigerians that were not just protesting in Nigeria, they were protesting in Ghana, in Kenya, in several African countries, in Paris, in London, in other Western countries out there. We're angry and we have a right to our anger. So I don't think, respectfully, sir, that you should ask us not to be angry, because the issues that started our anger in the first place are
Dr. Reno, please, let me clear. Apologies for muting you. Let me clear something. You sent me a message and asked me to bring Dr. Great, the last speaker who suggested that you find peace with
Host,
Sega.
we can't hear
You're
you.
the one.
Or am I the only one that can hear the host?
You're the only one.
You're the only one, Whitebeard. Please mute your mic, Whitebeard. So you asked me to bring him up. And then you asked me to bring him up, and I brought him up only for you to disagree with everything he has said. You must understand that in a space of 37,000 people, everything I do cannot be conceived uniformly or the same way, processed the same way by the audience. Some people would think otherwise, other people would think of it a different way. So you told me to bring Dr. Great, and I brought him up. I gave him the mic. He made his submission. The one moment you raised your hand to respond to him, you disagree with everything he said. So if you are going to keep disagreeing with everybody on the spit, respectfully I say this, I cannot stop you from speaking. But you must understand that we cannot be held here. We have to move forward. We have to go back to David. We have to go back to President. We have to go back to Saga. So if I keep rotating you and doctor, I'm not getting anywhere. We would be here for hours. So please, if you have something you want to achieve with this space, I would give you the time to achieve this. But if it's about blames, then maybe tomorrow I can host a space for you and you would blame everybody. And I'm not saying this thing condescendingly. I swear. I am speaking to you from a good place. Please, please, please. If you cannot find a common ground with Sega, ask him questions and allow other speakers. Please. I give you the mic. You can speak, Reno.
Thank you very much, host. You said you've not tried to stop me from speaking. I think that over 4 times to 5 times now, you've actually stopped me from speaking. And I think that you're trying to manipulate the conversation. That's not fair. I don't think that that is very fair to me and to many people that are in this space, where you try to say that because I asked you to bring Dr. Mahmood on, then I disagreed with everything he said. No, I am disagreeing with the apology part. I hope you can hear me. Why am I disagreeing with the apology part? Because I said I don't want an apology. Sega did not offend me. He offended other people out there. There were several people who invested their lives into the NSAS movement. He called the Feminist Coalition witches. He called them so many names. People that managed to crowdfund for an entire movement within 10 days. I don't take apologies on behalf of the Feminist Coalition. I don't take apologies on behalf of David Udein. I don't take apologies on behalf of every other person that have been offended here. So that is why I disagree when Doctor said Sega should pick the phone and call me, because I personally, I don't need any apology. Thank you, host, for everything you've done. I hand over to my...
Reno, I understand. Reno, before you go, can I ask you a question, please? I think we lost her. Let me quickly go to
I think she wants to drop. She dropped herself.
Yes. The issue is, when Reno started speaking, I am trying to read the fever on my timeline, because if I do not read what the audience is saying, I cannot, know how to moderate the space. I would just allow somebody to talk. People would get boring and go. Moderating a space, I'm not going to educate anybody here because I've been lucky to have 37,000 people here. But moderating a space is not about just issuing time. It's about controlling the temperature of the room, inciting the temperature, as well as, knowing when to say, okay, stop. It's getting out of hand. And in doing that, you would offend a lot of people. And other people would love you for it. So I have been trying to do that, and I'm not going to get emotional because Reno is angry. But Reno and I had a personal and private message in the DM, and she contradicted everything we discussed. And she asked me to bring somebody up and did the opposite of what she wanted to do. And if the space is heading towards peace and reconciliation, who am I to take you back to Bas Boost for fun? David is a journalist. He came out with his guns and decided to put them back. The space is not about me anymore. All I'm doing is moderating. So please let me quickly go to and David, then I'll cycle back to.
Kabir, a lot of people were asking for us to allow certain people speak, and sometimes we allow certain people speak because that's what people want to hear or what the demand is. But as much as we do that, we also still get DMs for other people, other parties, reprimanding us, telling us we are giving too much leeway. So we are trying our best to have people to create a balance. So when Kabir says things like this, he's just trying to create a balance so everybody can speak. So I think we should continue.
Quickly, Whitebeard. Before I go to David, Mr. Saga, they want me to ask you openly: do you intend, or do you have any intention of apologizing for using the word you use on the NSAS, some of the NSAS or people who hijacked the NSAS protest? Let me put it like that. And also, the Peter Obi supporters are saying that you need to apologize for calling them terrorists or calling them extremists. Do you intend to do any of this?
On the NSAS protest, apologizing without context will seem like I'm taking responsibility for certain things which I don't have power over. The issue of apology.
No, Mr. Saga, apologies.
Yes.
Mr. Saga, apologies. They only want you to apologize for using the word insurrectionist, not for what happened in Tollgate, Lekki, or in Abuja. Just for the word you use.
I believe, based on the pressure as at the time, and based on the way.
1 minute, please. 1 minute, please. They are addressing specific tweets. You had specific tweets that you call them insurrectionists and extremists.
And I'm already
I would like.
No, you are mixing it up.
Over 100 messages.
Mr. Whitebeard.
Whitebeard, hold on. Let him go. Let's hear what he has to say. Saga,
I have made out a thread concerning my tweet about the Obi supporters. And I've traced the trajectory of the various attacks on my person, which is pointed to certain groups because of the grouse that they have against my person. And this was what I referred to as the hub of people using that campaign as an affront and as an attack on individuals because they did not mirror their sentiments. So unto this, I deem their action as extreme, and thus the hashtag shun extremism. It is in no way referring to supporters of His Excellency Peter Obi who are not abusing anybody, who are not fighting anybody. But for you to dismiss my warning and dismiss the point I raised and taking offense of my description of my experience of the campaign will be to gaslight me. So I don't know if to be apologizing now for being misconstrued, or to be apologizing now for the misunderstanding of my statement, or to be apologizing to people who are giving excuses for the belligerence against my person and several other people who have laid complaints about the Obi campaign. On this same space that we are in, the earlier ones that we had several people who, even amongst people who are supporters of Obi, who complained about this belligerence. So for you to say that I should come and apologize to them will be to annul every single thing that was said to me that even led to that position. So I don't know the position of this apology, because it is more or less being railroaded or being gaslighted also into admitting fault when I have not even seen what specifically was done wrong to any person. The conversation degenerated. There are many spaces we had here where we were trying to find a meeting point. to the point where I had to unblock everybody, including David, including everybody that I've ever blocked, including those who even committed an offense. Now look, let's start on a clean slate. I apologize for whatever misconception that must have been, or the interpretation that must have been given my tweet. Let's start on a fresh slate. And for peace to reign, I am unblocking everybody. Kabiru, you're on this space. You know, you heard this. You saw me unblock people. And you can get, even from this room, people saying, I have unblocked them and everything. So does that all sound like somebody who wants peace, who even want to understand where the anger is coming from?
Apologies, Saga. Mr. Saga, let me come in here. We had a conversation with you 2 days ago, and it was regarding the Peter Obi supporters. And I said to you, Saga, you cannot put out 140 characters or put out a thread and expect that everyone who reads that out of your 900,000 followers would have the same comprehension. And in a case where you put out a tweet and then you have a majority of people having a negative comprehension or misunderstanding of that tweet, you owe them an apology. Yes, you have freedom to say whatever you want, do whatever you want. But because of your stance, because of your position, because of your influence, whether in advocacy or where you have strategically found yourself, you must understand that you owe certain people an explanation. You have a leading voice. You shout, people follow. You cannot choose when to be a leader. You cannot choose when to be a voice. When you're misunderstood, when you're greatly misunderstood, you say, oh, they didn't understand me. But when you want to speak and you want them to hear you, you speak for them to understand. So whether you unblock people or not, I think it is only fair that they say, okay, whether you unblock us, unblocking is not acknowledging fault. It is not it is not an acceptance, it is not an acknowledgement, it is not an apology. What they want to hear is two issues. One from the NSAS. The NSAS are saying you use the word insurrectionist. And they want to know if you're going to apologize for calling the NSAS that word. Then the Peter Obi supporters are saying you have termed them extremists. And then they want to know if you feel you should apologize to them. So what I want to hear, please, Mr. Saga, is that are you going to apologize to either whether the NSAS or the Peter Obi supporters? If you are going to apologize to any of them, then
why
issue that apology.
Why
please,
not?
Please.
Oh, DJ, do you mind me speaking?
Yes, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
The issue is this: apologies or no apology is not any issue. I apologize if anything I've said, I've made you take an offense, I've made you feel that you are attacked, or feel
But
like...
That's not an apology, though.
You said what?
That's not an apology. I apologize if I offended you. It's not an apology.
No. It's not okay, I've heard you. I apologize for anything that I must have said that must have triggered anyone. Thank you. Both the OB camp, both the NSAS campaigners and all. But please understand the fact that there are other issues that are not open to you, which I tried as much as possible to prevent from happening, that eventually happened. Let us listen to one another more, so that we will not have crisis that will be making us take offense on, you said this, you said this, or you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Like I said, as a leader, you must always accept responsibility. And I take responsibility for using words that must have triggered you. Thank you.
I think there we have it. Saga is apologizing
I think
to
that's
everyone.
perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah,
I said
he's
that already.
apologizing. One moment, Whitebeard. Saga is apologizing to anyone he has offended, whether directly or indirectly. Let me quickly, before I go to Dr. Great and President, let me go to David. David, what would you like to say?
I think I've made my point already, and I think sort of any further, like, I think there's been enough of that energy on this space. As I said earlier, this space is not meant to be for entertainment. So, and I think we've all, to some extent, we've all had some clarification We've all heard some of the things that maybe we needed to hear. So, I'm okay. And I'll sort of leave the mic for anyone else who still has things that they want to express. You can actually drop it down.
David, I have unblocked you. So unblock the handle and still need to talk to you personally.
All right.
Do that?
Yeah, sure. Amazing.
Right, no
at least
I think David needs to do an amnesty. David needs to do an amnesty and unblock everybody he has blocked in the spirit of brotherliness.
I won't advise that. I'm still suffering from my own.
Amazing. So gentlemen, we have Sega and David unblocking each other. Some people were here for the fun of it. Some people were here for the violence. They wanted things said, or for the fight. But I'm glad that at the end of the day, we managed to get two people to have a conversation privately. Whether it's reconciliation, whether it's not, they would speak privately, and without the audience, I believe they can achieve a lot. Quickly, I have President. President, your house has been up. What would you like to say before we go?
Okay, I just have one word for Mr. Segun Awosanya. I don't know the stage of the implementation of the white paper now. And again, this is a time where you can go to the flower of any politicians to cut anything and get away with it. This is a political era. I want to beg Mr. Segun Awosanya Shegalin to kindly follow up with the white paper. I don't know how close he is to Mr. Sanwo-Olu. Please, I want you to follow up with that white paper, and please, we want you to always give us feedback on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, Saka, you can go. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Maybe as we proceed, I will give you a full lowdown of how the whole thing went with the report. And I think I was outside the country when I heard a lot of back and forth with the panel, and I had to come in and give my take. And everybody heard what I had to say concerning that, shutting down the bickering and the rest and focusing on what really matters. And I would say that on the government end, there are several efforts that we have made, put forward to ensure that the government implements their side of things. And we also put mounting pressure on the state government to do their bit. But of course, with the politics and all that, the election that is coming up, so much is being, prioritized above what's on ground. But we'll continue to push, and we'll make sure that all that comes to light. And also, I meant what I said about David's condition, and Ralph and the rest of them will do something about that, and then also update the public. Like now, I can always get in touch with David and engage him properly on things. And I believe that going forward, his investigative journalism will have a better human face. So we'll all appreciate what he has done, and we'll understand from his perspective properly. Thank you very much.
Please, I would like to say this. I have said this in other spaces, and every time I get to an end, I would say this, that yes, we acknowledge a lot of people are clamoring for separation. There are separatist movements, there are agitators, there are kidnappers, there are terrorists in the north, and all that. We are politically divided. What happened in Sokoto is embarrassing. It is sad. It is pathetic. The lynching of the girl in Sokoto, and what happened in DADA would tell you a lot of how much we have failed, as to live as one. Now, I would say this, that whether we go for a confab or whether we separate, we would have to go into regional traits as regional regions, as regions of this country. Will have to go through regional traits. What I know we must do, in my opinion, is for something like this, we would have to first have a reconciliation amongst ourselves, whether we're going our separate ways or not. I believe, in my gut feeling, this is my opinion, I believe that just like 1999, we need another reconciliation panel. But this time around, we do not need any scapegoating of anyone. We need a reconciliation panel where a governor from the north would look at a governor from the south and said, you know what, I have made this comment about the Igbos and I apologize. Where a governor from the north would say, I have made this about the Igbos that led to so people killed, I apologize. We must have this reconciliation across academic and non-academic actors, religious and non-religious actors, political and non-political actors. We must acknowledge these things to one another. Today, David has acknowledged something, Sega has acknowledged something, and at the end of the day, whether they still have grievances in their heart, they have agreed to at least have a conversation privately, absent of prejudice. This is what we must do as a nation. We would keep whichever route we take as a solution, whichever corrections we make to the 1999 Constitution, we cannot implement it, we cannot interpret it with the differences we have as a nation. We must look at a Fulani man and say, I apologize for shooting you. We must look at the Southerners and say, we apologize for how much the oil has ruined your lands. We must see Ogoni cleanup actualize. We must look at an Igbo man and say, I apologize as a Hausa man for calling you a Boki. We must do this. As naive as it sounds, the only reason Obasanjo had a peaceful reign, whether it's for 4 years or 8 years, was because of the Oputa panel reconciliation. It helped to an extent, and we must do this as a nation. I would quickly say to everyone on this space, I appreciate everyone that came up tonight. We made magic. We went 38,000. It is not my influence. It is the influence of David, Sega, Renu, and Abraham, and all of them who came. I appreciate every one of you. For the audience that listened, we could not have done this magic and history with Nigerian Twitter without you. I appreciate everybody. I would like to thank the audience for staying for a couple of hours. I've been here trying to do this. Thank you, Saga. Thank you, David. Thank you, Comrade. Thank you, President Dr. Great. Reno is on the listener session. I apologize for misunderstanding you with the apology. I hope if you are grieved that you'd find it in your heart to forgive me. I'm only trying to moderate. It is not easy. You cannot please 30,000 people. You cannot. This was not a joke. This was an attempt to have a real conversation, and I am proud of the result. Thank you very much. And I will say this. If there's anybody on this space, from the audience to the speakers, who feels aggrieved by anything that has been said and was not given a fair chance for rebuttal, I personally am apologizing to you. I apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been here for hours. We would have to call it a night. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love everyone here, and good night.
God bless you, Kabir.